And good morning. The legendary Sophia's in. Aren't you looking glamorous? Where are you, darling?
Just on my balcony, which is I live quite near Hobart Airport, so you might see a few planes flying past, so I'll stay muted.
Oh, that is terribly. Well, I hope you won't stay muted because we need your involvement and your fabulousness. But what a great view that is. Am I seeing the
Very
Derwent?
lucky.
What am I seeing? The Derwent? What am I seeing?
No, it's just a little bit of water in kind of in the peninsula. I'm not sure. Maybe we have a geographer who can tell me the right word. Um,
I love a good peninsula. I think there is a weird word, isn't there, Kylie, that begins with I. When Jamie turns up, he might know. What is the I? Like not
like an inlet.
Not there's another weird posh word that refers to the little pointy bit.
But I'm not the one to ask.
They use it a lot. They use it a lot in Finland, supposedly. Oh, Sophia, that's fantastic. So, but Sophia, you're traveling well. You're going well.
yeah. I do have a question to put to the group today if there's time later on about authorship. Yeah. I know that's a painful topic for a lot of us.
Well, look, darling, that suits with what's on the desk at the moment. As you know, we've had a request from a wonderful gentleman about the battery hen farmer. So I think these are perhaps two triangulated data sets, Sophia. So we may go there earlier rather than later. And we've got all our colleagues in. We're thrilled to see you all. That's brilliant. Beautiful, Catherine. Welcome, my angel. It is so lovely to see you.
Hello.
Hello. Now, darling, where have you joined us from? Because you're coated up, mate. And in my
I am. It's freezing here. I'm southeast Queensland, Kingaroy.
Oh,
not
Kylie.
a couple of hours from Toowoomba, chilly.
Right. So, Catherine, Kylie, do you want to say hello to? This is getting. I mean, obviously, marriages won't be formed at this point, but friendships could be.
Hi, Catherine. I've already got the heating on in the house. I'm really bad. I'm in Toowoomba. It is cold.
But Kingaroy, I've actually never met a real human from Kingaroy. I thought it was an imagined place, Catherine.
Yeah, and it's not really on the way to or from anywhere. So yeah, sort of have to make a special trip to come here and buy your peanuts. We're known for peanuts.
Look,
and a very good cafe that I used to stop in for lunch when I did all the bridge inspections up there.
This is unbelievable. And of course, have you been able to, like, the pumpkin scones, are you post pumpkin scones, Catherine? I'll explain this all later to the legendary Liam shortly. But are you, like, a pumpkin scone still a thing?
Oh, Lady Flo. Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, Lady Flo.
We're yes. I don't know whether the Bjorky Petersons still have a pretty big influence in town, so maybe we're not really.
They had a fair number of sons by memory too.
Yes. Yeah, there's still at least one around.
Yes. It is interesting how Conservatives are very fertile, isn't it? Which suggests they're probably going to win in the end. So, but Catherine, we are thrilled to see you. Kylie, was that the wrong thing to say? Was that the wrong to say, Catherine? Oh, unbelievable. So, right, so we've got an authorship query from Sophia, but I'll go to Gay into the Dugster. So, Gay, talk to us, gorgeous one.
Hello, everybody. I just want to say I won't be here next week because I am on the road to Armidale for my Master of History graduation on Saturday.
Oh, sweetheart, we are so thrilled for you. How do you feel, Angel? You look gorgeous, but how do you feel?
I'm a bit nervous because traveling a long way makes me sick. But I'm excited. They're doing some special things for me. So that's really nice. I wanted to say to everybody, thank you so much for all your support to help me get me through it.
Love you. We love you. Can I just ask the obvious? I saw Kylie went straight there. So what fabulous things are they doing for you, Gay? I mean, is it like Kingaroy? They're pumpkin scones waiting, or what's going on, mate?
I got what is called the New England Award, which was an additional thing that so Tara knows about that. So that gets presented at the same time as my degree testament, and I get a photograph with the Chancellor and the Vice Chancellor, which is very nice.
Are they pretty?
Probably not, no.
But darling, you deserve that. That's tremendous. Oh, I'm thrilled. And darling, do travel well. I know traveling is. I understand that it's anxiety driven, but you are wonderful and we are so thrilled for you, my darling. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And we'll use your expertise on authorship in a second. So Doug's in. Now, Doug, as you can see, Kylie, Doug is trying to do something with our brains every morning, right? So we've got sleeves off, beanie on this week. Hello. So I'm hot or cold, Doug? Where are we at, brother?
Oh, it's about 16, 17 degrees. So,
Right.
but the sun's out, and
Yes.
but yeah, I haven't done my hair.
Oh, so it's just like a bonnet. You're wearing it like a bonnet.
Yes.
Right.
Mary sends her apologies today because she's got a seminar.
Oh, that's fantastic. Gee, she's doing a lot, isn't she, Dougster?
Yeah.
I'm that impressed with her. No, look, Mary is finishing off this master's degree like a train, and it'll be an interesting experiment, Doug, won't, to see how quickly Mary does that PhD, because she's done absolutely everything in that master's degree. She's learnt, she's done the research training. So I think that's brilliant, Doug. Doug, thank you for putting in the apologies. This is becoming like a formal medieval event.
And it's also a farewell, congratulations, and bon voyage, and
oh,
and
thank
all
you.
that.
Yes, well, we may talk about this. So this is in its current manifestation, the last digital office hours and the last right club, because I have resigned. But that's okay. That's okay. It's fantastic. We will all, Liam, take a breath, brother. Take a breath, mate. It's too late in the middle of the night. If you have an incident, mate, if you have an incident, we can't help you in Manchester. Okay. No, it's all good, colleagues, and we'll all meet in different places around the world. And I'll still have, I believe, we'll see what happens, I'll still have some affiliation with CDU. So that's tremendous. But it's been a great experience. But Sophia, don't panic. You won't like lose me as a mate. Swings and roundabouts, gorgeous swings and roundabouts. So Doug, so thank you, beautiful. Now, Maeve, darling, you were next in on that. Then I think Adrian was in. Talk to us.
Yes, I didn't complete my social work degree, which actually was a great benefit to me. So I'm grateful for that. But nonetheless, I still keep that anchor of all that stuff. So I just wanted to, I missed a couple of minutes, so I don't know, excuse me, what was said, but I just wanted to acknowledge that at CDU and to your personal students, we received emails today. And obviously we love you, and we will love you no matter where you reside or which university you're at or
so
not.
It's not contextually dependent. So your love is not contextually dependent. Thank you,
Mine isn't. So I know how much audience that are not participating today will be affected when they hear this. You can hear it in my voice, and I know how much we as a group, so I'm happy to proceed with whatever content you want, but I wonder if we can also just thread through it, the process, because everyone here is having a lot of feelings, and I wonder if we could merge the two, do whatever content you like, Tara, but at the same time allow people a tiny voice, because
Darling, it's always been your space. We opened it. We didn't know what would happen with it. But remember, I'm not dying. I've just resigned.
Oh, I've already been through iterations with you. I absolutely know that, things roll on and they take a new shape and a new form. And it's really about shape shifting, isn't it? Not just for you, but for us. And I always find that I shape shift a bit with your changes. So, if you're not there or there, I'll still be doing what I'm doing, but at the same time, the new influence comes out. And I just wanted to say to Liam that don't worry, I would find a way to get you help in Manchester or not. I would ring an international something. I would get you help regardless.
No, I'm thrilled, Maeve. And of course, we believe the supervision will continue. So for my students, you're stuck with me. Don't think late capitalism impacts on any of that at all. You're wonderful, Maeve. So let's go to Adrian. I think it was Bev, then Liam. So beautiful, Adrian, the light of our lives. How are you, brother? Good morning.
Well, thanks. I just I was really just raising my hand to say basically what everyone else has said, and because it seemed like it had been missed at the start. I just read the email and was a little bit taken aback, but also very confident that I will see you again in this sort of platform at some stage in the near future. looking forward to that. So, and I just cannot thank you enough for everything that you do. You've just been such a godsend throughout this whole process. So I'll shut up and let everyone else do the same.
Thank you, sweetheart. That's delightful. And what a light you've been for us, Adrian. You've helped us at CDU really improve and craft artifact exegetical examinations. You've helped us. You've been like my guide on the side as we've been writing that, Adrian. So never underestimate your influence, brother. You are amazing. Now, I think we're going to Bev, then Liam, and then I think we're going to do authorship and do the battery head father supervisor. Bev, talk to us, my queen. Lovely to see you.
Good morning, everyone. And before I knew that this was the last one, I just wanted to come on and say a huge thank you, because I'm very new to this and it can be very isolating, as everybody knows. Sorry, changing my headphones. I just found it so helpful when I was feeling overwhelmed. And after the last time when I was talking about, wasn't sure what to do with methodologies, and you were helping, Adrian's reached out and been emailing and helping me with resources. And it's just been so incredibly helpful. And I don't know if you underestimate, or you all know because you've been doing it for a long time, but just wanted to say a huge thank you, because it's been massively helpful to me, and thank you to Adrian as well and everybody. And I hope it stays in some form, because it's so useful, and we're all locked away in our own little studies all around the country or the world to and I'm very new in this journey, so just wanted to say a big thank you, and particularly to Adrian as well, but yourself. And I'm using bricolage, and I'm going on, I've practice-led research, and hoping to do my confirmation of candidature next week in Darwin, hoping.
Everything crossed, and I might pop in for that too, Bev. So that would be tremendous. Well done, Bev. And these friendships, they don't die. Friendship never dies. It just morphs into something more spectacular. Okay. You're the best. To the legendary Liam joining us from the northwest of England, and to Lorraine. Liam, talk to us, brother.
Oh wow, you've really took the wind out of my sails, Tara. What are you doing to me?
I'm enacting a performance art experiment about late capitalism and what's happening to higher education, Liam. I hopefully have never been a hypocrite, and have always put my money where my mouth is.
Absolutely. I'm personally devastated, but also we grow in other ways, and I'm sure you'll resurface somewhere else. I'm brighter, stronger, shiny. Yeah, I just don't know what the words are. I was just, because I didn't get these emails because I'm not a student at your institution. So when that was announced, I was just like, wow. But I just wanted to say thank you so much. Like, I think everybody feels this.
Oh, thank
you. And I've just likened it to Prue being killed off Charmed in my pop culture kind of.
Thanks,
yeah.
Thanks.
But I'm really can you say what you're going to do next, or where you're going next?
We can't, because we've signed some non-disclosure things, so we can't. But can I say the person who looks happiest on this call is clearly Professor Quinton. Julie went straight down to look at the happiest man in the Southern Hemisphere. So yes, do you want to say anything, Jamie Quinton?
Hi everyone. I've kind of walked into the middle of the conversation, so I'm just trying to read the room at the moment.
Are you happy that you're seeing your wife shortly?
Absolutely, yeah. I didn't know if you told them that. Yeah.
Yes, my darling. So they know. But Liam, darling, we'll pop back up. What was the line? It was excrement and/or cream always resurfaces. So I will resurface at some point. Liam, keep going. Then we'll go to beautiful Lorraine.
I was just going to say, like, you probably can't say, but it sounds like you're going to be back together in an institution. This sounds nice. Good. Sorry, I'll stop talking. Happy for you.
Now, Lorraine Angel, so we're in England, so hello beautiful, just keep going with that beautiful accent, gorgeous.
I was going to say I was lost for words, but then as my frontal lobes have just started to kick back into action, I found some words. So I just obviously want to thank you I've grown so much, not just academically, but actually personally, my personal life. But before, when I was stuck for words, a song came to mind. So I'm just going to give you a quick blast of it. I'm sure everyone's going to agree. I'll follow her wherever she will go.
Oh, that's
Anyway, Sister Act came to mind. I thought I'm going to follow her wherever she goes. You're still Facebook.
Oh, and that's right. And Lorraine, darling, we will pop up and look, we will decide, and we may talk about it now, or you might want to send me secret squirrel messages about what a next iteration of this will look like in a deterritorialized, deinstitutionalized formation. But that's brilliant. That's brilliant, Lorraine. Look, I will just go to Megan, because obviously, you know, May was you know, talking about social workers methodology in a trap. And we've seen beautiful Nor. Good morning, Nor. We love you, Nor. We love you, Nor. We love you, Nor. Megan, darling, how are you going from the People's Republic of the Norfolk Island?
Well, it's probably not appropriate to say exactly what I would like to say because of censorship laws. But you can read my mind, Tara. I'm very happy for you. I'm also very happy for Jamie. And I'm just hoping that there is an extra bedroom for me, because I'm coming too.
Yes,
Yeah.
obviously. And look, for my students who are being supervised, just so I'm always trying to be transparent. So currently an adjunct professorial process is going through the university. So for my students, it just means I've got 15 PhD students, and you know, if that goes through, then those 15 students will be cared for till their completion. Obviously, you know, the nature of the adjunct workforce, Liam, we've talked about it. The nature of the adjunct workforce is I am not paid to do that service, but I'm also very aware that $1.4 million of RTP funding is reliant on me caring for those students to completion. So that's pretty
And Tara,
yes.
I will pay you for my supervision.
No, you
Like,
won't.
I will. No,
Megan.
I will, because no, this is unethical. So I will be paying you. Shut up, Tara.
Shut
Like,
up, Megan. Shut up. Megan, darling, Jamie Quentin and I are old people, and this is the nature of what happens in universities. So I've always, I hope, performed the injustices so everybody can see them. So I always try and, so Adrian, we've always tried to talk about, this is what higher education is, right? And this is why I beg students to finish their PhDs quickly, because no one's staying anywhere for very long at the moment. That's the point. Hi, Edith. Lovely to see you, darling. Just saw you there. Hello, Edith. And so you need to finish quickly, because people leave. And some get the adjunct thing and finish people off. Other people quite rightly say, I'm done and dusted and off to earn a living. But Professor Quentin and I can afford to do this, can't we, Professor Quentin? And we love doing this. We care for our lives have been based on caring for students. Megan, Jamie, you want to speak to
Tara?
Oh,
do you
go,
know
Megan.
anybody? Do you know anybody who's studying resistance? Because I do, and this is my act of resistance. I will be paying you for the supervision. No, and I'm not saying anything else. I'll talk privately to you.
I'm not saying anything else. I'm not saying I won't take your money. I won't take your money. I put my hands back like this. I don't take your money. No, so darling, it's fine. But darling, this is the nature of the game. And so how you can pay me, Megan, is finish, enjoy it, be successful. Your success is what the payment is. All right. Okay. Okay. Oh, thanks for that level of excitement. Oh, Rachel straight in. My darling girl, Rachel, talk to us from your glamorous location. Your top goes with your fern. Bloody hell.
Yep, good old op shop.
Very
Can you
nice.
hear me okay?
Glad.
I just want to say I'm back in Darwin, and I've been so looking forward to catching up with you. And then I've just been so busy moving and settling with the dog and the daughter and the rah-rah. This is the first morning I've managed to make it. And I thought, right, I'll be organized and I'll prep myself and read your email. And then your email said you're leaving, and I was like, but I just got back.
But darling, you finished your thesis. I mean, and you got a fantastic result.
I just got some amendments, so I'm trying to I've started the doc, and I'm just reading the thesis to do the grammar first and get my head. You go away for a while and you're like, now what was it I talked about? So I have to actually go back and read it all so I can know how to respond. But
But remember, the examiners loved it. You got, if you read that one report that you got that gave you a one, the one that gave you a one,
Yeah.
unbelievable.
I cried. I literally cried. And then I went, my daughter was still, we were sharing a room for a while. I went into the room and I put my head on her shoulder, and I tell you, I sobbed for at least 5 minutes. I was quite shocked at that dam breaking. And she was like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And I'm like, "No, it's good crying. It's good." And I couldn't stop. I just couldn't stop. And it was just that slog, the slog, and so many wonderful supportive people, including you and others, but at the same time trying to do something that everywhere just seems to be not allowed to do. And then that reviewer, just the validation. It was the validation. And I think that's the most exciting thing about passing your PhD, is the validation that what you did is okay, and that what you did was good, and that what you did can add value. And yeah. So
no, that's and as I said, these corrections will be very, very quick, Rach. So we're
yeah.
so
And
thrilled.
I had to, well, and thank you to you, because you pick great reviewers. That's all you that did that. So you're awesome. Thank you.
No, I'm not. But my late husband, those of you that remember Steve's line, I learnt well from Steve, where he actually said the most important thing a supervisor ever does is select examiners. And we might talk a bit more today about what supervisors do, because on our list was also how to configure a new supervisory team. So we might try and get to that too. But thank you, Rach. That's beautiful, mate. You're a joy to work with and for.
And thank you. Pushed me through, and you said, "Oh, you'll hate me at the end," and I did hate you for about 5 days.
Yes, you did.
And then I was over it. Yeah.
Everybody hates everybody at the end. Julie is going to hate me. Amanda hates me at the moment. There's always hatred at the end. Now, Josh, it's so funny you put your hand up. Before we launch into our content, I was about to mention you because I've read your email. So we should share your wonderful news with the humans on the call. It's just breathtaking, Josh. Jamie and I had a bit of a cry. I told Jamie, and it was just like, "Oh, Jamie, don't," because I'll start. But Josh, talk to us. Tell us the fabulous thing that happened to you, brother.
Nothing about me. I'm also same as Liam right now. Flashbacks to the trauma of Charmed season 3. But I just wanted to thank you as well on behalf of anyone that watches asynchronously as well, that's in a similar position, that's just finished and is in this sort of bizarre transitional period between finishing the PhD and finding some kind of stable job, and being in between institutions and having really nothing, similar to Sophia's situation, where we've got no consistent level of support. Having this each week has been an incredible anchor to maintain motivation and to remind me of why I want to be in the sector that I am in. And it's also, I think, the conversations and everyone's vulnerability here has been incredible, and it's helped prepare me, I think, to be a supervisor eventually. And it's been potentially the best introductory supervisory training I could ever receive. So I'm incredibly grateful.
If we've got, we've had thousands of incredible experiences, we've all been transformed. But Josh, you are one of the truly great scholars I've ever met. And if we've helped you and walked with you to sort out the bin fire that is PhD supervision, then you are a great blessing to us. But Josh, do tell everybody the great news, for God's sake. Tell everyone how fabulous you are, for God's sake.
All right. I just received knowledge this week that I got the one of the outstanding doctoral thesis awards for 2023. So thank you.
So Josh, can I first of all, congratulations from me. Fantastic. I was really thrilled to see the letter that you sent Tara, because Esa Yartinen is a collaborator of mine. And so to show you how things go full circle, so the person who signed the letter that Josh got is somebody that I collaborated with on a Defence Grand Challenge project. Now, I'm not allowed to say much about that project because of the nature of it, but it was about rapid detection of energetic materials for counterterrorism. And QUT's involvement was what's called phase-resolved Raman spectroscopy, where they can look at material inside of a plastic container and be able to see through the material of the surface, which for Raman is actually really impressive. It's a surface technique, but they can actually look through certain transparent materials. And that was their involvement. But that just shows you that how many short degrees of separation there are between individuals in the thing. What the other thing I wanted to say, which is kind of relevant to the wider conversation, is the best leaders. So this is a leadership lesson that most people don't get. The best leaders render themselves obsolete so that you no longer need them. Okay, so that's kind of the principle that underpins the academic generosity that's part of the conversation around what Megan was talking about. And in response, so Tara asked me to respond, do we need a bigger house?
No. We don't financially, but we'll organise a beautiful location for Megan and Paul to stay with us, I'm certain. Thank you, Jamie.
I just need a little room, and me.
Oh, and fantastic. Well, you and I can share a wine.
Bring my own swag.
Yeah.
Oh, bunk beds. Love it.
Now, colleagues, I'm conscious of time. We can do some content and do what Maeve and Megan is helping us do, which is sort of weave things, make sure everybody's okay. Remember, I'm not dead. I'm not dying. I'm just moving out of Darwin. It's different. So sorry, Liam. Sorry, and I'm getting out of this house. Oh my God. Liam, darling, talk to us.
By the way, this is just completely unrelated. And I have to thank all of you for this because you kept me going. You got me through the writing period of this article, but it's had nearly 900 hits in a week, 60 downloads, and Ange Dwyer, who's Professor of Policing and Criminology, and a writer in queer criminology at Tasmania University, got in contact. And she said she loved it. So, and we're now in contact as a result of that. So thank you, everybody.
Well, you deserve that. It's a magnificent piece. And look, you can say as little or as much as you like. What happened with the interview?
Oh, it's not till next week.
Oh, I thought it was this last week. I thought it was.
No,
we're never going to know. This is like a Doctor Who cliffhanger, like when there's a regeneration and like they never pick up that thread again. Oh, Liam, everything crossed. Oh, I thought it was last week. Oh.
It's next week, but you know, I could end up doing guitar or I end up regenerating somewhere else, which I've warned my bosses about. The potential for that to happen. So
like capitalism, brother. Like capitalism.
Right.
So colleagues, let's enter this, which is one of my favorite topics, and I think is the most horrific topic, which comes from Sophia, and I think it's a blessing that she's asked this question. As I said, we've got tons, so we've got enough to fill the final digital office hours, but on authorship, and we were also asked about the battery hen farmer. So Sophia, in as generalities, as much or as little detail as you like, what's the particular challenge? And then we'll all go as a family.
Yeah, so first, just really quickly, thank you so much to everyone for these digital office hours. They have been such a gift. And Tara, I don't know if I ever told you because we hadn't really spoken before digital office hours, but you are listed in my acknowledgements as my fairy goth mother supervisor because you really were the supervisor that I didn't have. And Liam, if you're ever in Tasmania, please come and stay with me. I actually don't have a spare room, but you can keep on the couch. So sorry, the authorship question, as you might remember, I'm putting together an edited collection at the moment. Yes. On themes of metamorphosis and transformation in popular culture.
Yes.
Just mention that because it ties in with the idea of Tara's many transformations. Yes. I received a chapter submission from a PhD candidate, was obviously kind of a passion project for this candidate.
Yes.
Great submission. And then a few weeks later, I received an email saying, I've just been informed that it's my university's policy that my supervisor has to be listed as an author. Can you please add her, but don't change anything else about the submission? I want to support this candidate, but my concern is that if I go with, well, you know, this is the Vancouver protocol or this is the publisher's authorship policy, the two possible outcomes of that are either she's pressured to say that her supervisor contributed to the work when it's quite clear to me that the supervisor didn't know about it, or two, the supervisor insists that she withdraw if the supervisor is not named. Like those are kind of the potential outcomes that I can see if I try and kind of assert those policies around authorship. So I wondered if you had any advice on how I can kind of gently support this candidate while also making sure that I'm communicating that that's not really okay.
Bloody hell, it's the end of the world, isn't it, colleagues? It's the end of the world. Sophia, I've got a couple of questions to just help me on the diagnostic. So you are the editor, you are based in Australia, the best bit of Australia, which is Tasmania. So that means the Australian Code for the Responsible Conduct of Research applies to this collection because you are the editor. Now, what nation, and we won't, we must not make sure that she's identified. We've got to protect her or him or them. But what nation is the contributor from?
The institution is in India. And the publisher is Routledge.
Right, the publisher is Routledge, right. So that's significant to me. Right, so the first thing is you're the editor. So what you have to do is as follows. And by the way, I am happy to be your wingman on this. So if you want me to have a conversation via email with the student so they understand their rights and so forth, or with the supervisor, we'll talk about that. I'll just give one more caveat there about where I might be of use. When students submit a PhD at CDU and all the universities I've been involved in, I develop a form, Sophia, and I can show you that form and you can use it in any form you like. And I developed it, so it's yours to do with as you see fit. But I ask all writers to list the percentage of their research design, data collection and analysis, and substantive writing and editing, those three categories. That also mirrors not only the Vancouver Protocol, but also the Australian Code, right? So, and then I get the person to list the percentage of each of those three categories and sign it. And the other contributors, all the other contributors have to also get that same form, confirm their percentage and sign it. So if you wanted an easy way through this, with transparency, I could loan you that form and you could, of course, then start to send that to your contributors for full transparency. And you can reply to this last gentleman or non-binary identifying person that you submitted this on your own. So therefore, I'm assuming 100% signing. Your supervisor will have to contribute to be an author, and so they have to contribute in these three categories. That whatever their institution asks for, that's great. That's fine, but that's not relevant to an Australian editor for a British publisher, right? Actually, in some ways, you are the most important person here. You have to sign off the Australian Code. You're responsible for that research integrity. So it's about you. Now, I agree with you. You're worried that the lass or gentleman or non-binary identifying person will pull out. I think we can find strategies so that doesn't happen. And Jamie's on the call, so I'll just always add the one other variable that we see from the hard sciences, which is give the supervisor the opportunity to make a contribution. So state to the writer, look, we both know that the supervisor did not contribute anything on those three categories because you submitted it without their name. If you would like that returned, I will give you 2 weeks to give it to the supervisor so they can make a contribution in 2 of those 3 categories. Now, are they options that are viable for you, Sophia?
Yeah, thank you. That's really that's quite a non-confrontational way of approaching it, which is what I was struggling to find. So that is really helpful. Thank you. And I know that this is a difficult topic because so many of us have been pressured by people in positions of authority to gift authorship. I know you've had that experience, Tara, and I had that experience through my PhD as well. And the amount of pressure that can be brought to bear on you to gift that authorship is it's really painful. Yeah,
It's catastrophic. So all of us as a family, if we can stand up for the code and stand up for what's right, and there are very clear criteria in the Australian system. So it's one of those situations, Liam, where, you know, the great process has happened in medical sciences in Canada, spread throughout the world. And actually we've ended up with probably the most operational of all the codes of conduct around the world. So that's a blessing, I think. But as Sophia stated, look, my PhD student, he who will never be spoken and will burn in hell shortly, He certainly said to me week 3, you know, you'll be a co-author, I'll be a co-author on everything you write. And I laughed like a banshee. I laughed, and he didn't read a word of it, and I just went, yeah, nah, and nothing, got nothing, rightly got nothing. But can I say, it's all right for me to be sitting there, look at me, look at me. I got hoisted by my own petard when I was a full professor in the United Kingdom, when the PVC, who was of course the DVC at that time, but they didn't have DVCs at that point, the PVC said, to enter me into the RAE, you will have to write a piece and add my name to it. And I had to do it because my probation was 3 weeks away. And, you know, my living in Britain with my husband, my visa, everything was reliant on this guy passing my probation. So that's the power, and that's the only time in my career, only time, one out of the 600 things I've written, that's the only time someone was added, because I was frightened. I was a foreigner in a foreign land and frightened. And he became first author of a piece he didn't write a single word on.
And shame on him.
And
shame on him.
May he rot in hell too. Josh.
I don't have any specific advice for Sophia, but I just like it's such a tricky situation. I would be feeling just as icky about the whole thing. Like, I guess I wanted to acknowledge that it's for people in Australia that have gone through it. At the very least, at least our policies on paper support and agree with these protocols. But I do know, not specifically Taiwan, but I've had a friend from China that's had particular authorship issues stated as institutional policies. So I think it's really tricky in countries and where the country or the national level institutional policies directly violate these international authorship protocols, and whether or not they actually exist, or if they're you know, summoned up to exist as red herrings of policies to scare students. It's interesting. So I don't know, maybe it would be good to actually try and look at what that student's institutional policies are, if they're available somewhere, and if it is a real thing, or if they've just been lied to. And then if they've been lied to, they can make a more informed decision about how they want to tackle that. But yeah, I just think it's such an interesting thing where you have these institutions that directly disagree with the international authorship protocols.
Well said. We'll go to Jamie and then City. Beautifully said, Josh, mate. Jamie, talk to us. I was about to go to you, brother.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, can we talk about personal power and standards? Because the code is there to protect you. And I know that you'll have political forces that will try to force you to do something that you're uncomfortable with. And there'll be times when you'll have to make the choice. Do I bow to the political pressure, or do I stand up to it? And I mean, fundamentally, nobody's perfect, right? You can pick anybody and you'll find exceptions where they've had to compromise on ideal principles. But fundamentally, if you're the kind of person who just says, to hell with standards, to hell with the protocols, I'm just going to gamify this thing and get the most I can out of it, and there are individuals who do that, then that's a way of being that you've decided to uphold. But the standards you walk past are the ones you accept. So you get to decide what that looks like for you and your integrity and so forth. And as I said, there are times when, like when you're first starting out, you kind of have this position of desperation where you want to try and be prolific as much as possible and take opportunities. But how do you authentically engage with them so that you feel you can sleep at night and having done the right thing, right? When you become a senior academic, you can then start to be a little bit more selective. And, you know, Tara and I have conversations often where we go, there's this opportunity, and we turn it down because we're worried about the implications on the rest of our integrity and career if we toe the line. It takes a long time to be in a position where you can do that. But always don't let your don't forget your personal power is my advice on that.
Very, very well said, and the policy should back you up. We'll go to Doug after we've gone to City too, of course, because Doug, we had to make that tough decision where someone behaved badly, a supervisor, we're moving to our next supervisory thing, when a supervisor behaved badly and said, if I supervise, I will get authorship, and did that in front of the dean. So hashtag stupid. But City, let's talk to you. Talk to us, my darling.
So, I mean, since we're on the topic of authorship, it's more of a question on, as someone who's just starting a research career, how protective should we be in authorship is kind of where I'm at, because, you know, in some nations, in university cultures, doctoral candidates, it's not a written rule, but it's a have to, but it's a strong practice where you do name your supervisor as a co-author, even though that the actual contribution is more of just a supervisory. So I think for me, I've kind of struggled on how protective I want to be in terms of my work, because on the good hand, some journals, they don't declare the percentage. And most of the time, those percentage forms are kind of the back internal work. It's not reflected inside the work. But I think some journals, like in Springer journals, they give you the option to name. There's actually a taxonomy on the type of contribution made, which kind of helps give the reader an idea on how much contribution each author made. So I found that's one way to mitigate it, but I've been struggling in terms of how much authorship I should give, especially when I kind of, sometimes the naming of co-authors, it's less so much of the actual project now, but kind of seeing far ahead, saying that, you know, this person and we have great chemistry, it could lead to, you know, future projects, or if not actual written projects, it's just good acknowledging each other's chemistry and naming them as co-authors. So should I be selective on who I name as a co-author, or should I be protective is kind of what I'm at. Yeah.
So City, I'll do a third space point there. You must be ethical with authorship. And so using Jamie Quinton's argument, and Josh has had a big impact on me for this, give the supervisor or the prospective collaborator the opportunity to be compliant with the code. So say, I would very much like you to be an author. Here are the 3 criteria by which authorship is configured. If you can show 2 of the 3, I would very much welcome that opportunity, right? But City, you should be protective, and sorry to be terrible on this, but you know, collaboration is great, but also be protective, because City is the old nana of the crowd saying this, darling, you never know which article is going to be your best one. You never know which article is going to go. You might be 25, you might be 75. You don't know which one is going to go. And so if you've added randoms as author 4 of 9 and they've done nothing, they're riding on your coattails. And the other thing I need to say to colleagues, I don't want to frighten you, but I'm an old goth, so I will, is last year there were 30,000 retractions of articles in journals, 30,000, the highest number in the history of international higher education, 30,000. So the risk you take is if you dilemate or you involve somebody and some random like me or somebody in the future says, Phil down the corridor didn't actually contribute to that. Remember, you've got to prove authorship. It's not a matter of, oh, yes, I was an author. When questioned, you have to have the data set to confirm that you were an author. So if that person is questioned and they're found to be under the substantive level for authorship, that article will be retracted. And to be frank with you, your career is pretty well over at that point.
Well, as much as possible, if I'm an author on an article, I would like, if someone asked me, what was that article about? I'd be able to give them some decent answer to the question.
Yeah. And of course, that's challenging for the experimental sciences, City, because of course, Jamie is brought into a lot of articles at the moment. And I say, Jamie is ripped off to hell. Let me speak on his behalf. He's been the 4th author of 9, and he's done the bulk of that. That article wouldn't exist without his work. But that's hard for physicists in particular. It's hard for statisticians in particular, because they undergird the whole project.
We provide credibility where others can't do it. Yeah.
Yeah, and so, but they end up sort of author 4 of 9, which is the freeloading postdoc. So that's the tragedy of these extraneous dilemates that are added, because people that are 4 of 9 should really be 2nd author or 3rd author, and they're losing that because of dilemate. So, but you know, the risk is a real one. You need to look at your career and know, you know, the standards you walk past, the standards you accept, and you've got to be prepared for it to be retracted. So
Can I also,
yeah, go, Jamie.
Can I also just add that while there is a culture around publication and, you know, H indices and all that nonsense, freeloading postdoc, that was actually a term that my supervisor, my PhD supervisor, said to me, with his tongue very firmly in his cheek at one point, saying, "Oh, that person's the third author, they're just the freeloading postdoc." Ha ha ha, right?
And of course, the postdocs are not the
we,
freeloaders, they're the professors often.
if we promulgate the culture, right, you have enough knowledge and awareness to not promulgate the culture. So if you try to, at least from an idealistic point of view, try to do the right thing, think carefully about what you do and what credit you take and what credit you give to others, and do the best you can. That's really the only thing you can do, right? Because as I said, you know, if you look through my publication list, I'm sure you could find an article and you could say to me, "So what was that about?" And I'll go, well, I think it was about this, but the role I played in that was to do this sub part of it, as opposed to it was all holistic and everybody started with the project in the whole program, right? That's kind of the nature of science. But I do have lots of colleagues who will do anything to be an author on an article.
Yeah.
Even just walk past when someone had a planning conversation.
Well, we've certainly seen that, haven't we, Jamie Quinton? Someone walks past the tea room and supposedly they're an author. I wish I was joking, colleagues. And the problem we've got, Jamie, is the people who rip people off gain from it and they're successful. So until that situation starts to reverse, we're in trouble. But Sophia, we'll go to Sophia now. But the great thing about Sophia is she is in Australia and she's got the code. So she doesn't have to do anything weird. She has to abide by the code or Sophia's gone. Talk to me, Sophia.
No, thank you. That's really good context to know, because I thought that it would be the location of the publisher would be the key thing. So it's really helpful to know. But I just wanted to link this conversation back to, I wasn't here last week, but I caught up on YouTube and the conversation about all of the staff cuts, because in my experience, that was the trigger for the demands to gift authorship, was that staff numbers had been cut back so that everyone's teaching load was excessive. No one was publishing, and then all of a sudden word came that the next round of cuts would be the people who hadn't published enough. So the pressure that was then placed on the RHD candidates was to gift authorship to their supervisors to save the supervisor's job. And that was a very real fear from the supervisor. So I'm not in any way excusing it, but it's just that layer of emotional kind of, guilt tripping that occurred because staff numbers had been cut, so that teaching wasn't being covered. And then as a result, no publications were coming out. And then as a result, all of that pressure got pushed downward towards the PhD candidates to fill that gap for their supervisors. So just linking that back with the conversation last week and the conversation we had earlier about the uncompensated labour that is inherent in our current system.
Now, Sophia, I hope you saw, and watch it in delay later on. I hope you saw Julie's face when you said that. Julie's face was a picture. Sophia, students, early career researchers, you are our future. You are not here to protect us. We are here to protect you. You are our future. I am not reliant on Doug for my research. My job is to help Doug. And to be frank with you, I'm a grown-up. I can do my own bloody research with the greatest respect. And I'm pretty busy too. But you know what? You toughen up, princess. You put on the big girl pants and you get on with it. And you certainly don't throw students under the bus. And you certainly don't breach a code of conduct. And can I say, Sophia, it's weird, you had that conversation. I had a weird conversation with a random this week where I made this point about authorship and their students and collaboration. I said, sorry, you're below the threshold. That publication can't have your name on it in the thesis, sorry. And then we had this relatively robust conversation about authorship. And he said, oh, look, I understand, Tara, you're in the humanities, and you write books. And so I understand it's very difficult to compare an 80,000 word document to a 7,000 word article. But, the book looks very selfish to us from the sciences. If you're writing a book on your own, that looks very selfish. And it's like, don't try the Irish Catholic rubbish with me, girlfriend. Really? Really? Which part of gold standard of research don't you understand, mate? Respect. Should we go to Doug, who also had a similar situation? And so, Doug, speak as a student, speak as that crazy thing where we were getting everything right for you in authorship, and then the random had to go, mate. What do you want to say about that?
Yeah, well, they've got a student doing the confirmation, I think, later this afternoon, where they're I think the associate supervisor for them as well. But yeah, they wanted. Well, you actually know the story more than I do because you're the one who was interacting with them.
Well, I withdrew you from about email
Yeah.
7 because it just got crazy, and I just sort of shouldn't be seeing this. But the person absolutely said everything that Doug writes will have their authorship, and further, if they don't have authorship, then they're in breach of the code as a supervisor. So this mad inversion. But how did you feel at the time, Doug?
I thought it was a bit weird and bit unfair. Oh no, it's going back a few months now. I've totally forgotten about it. I thought, oh, bugger that, and
let it go, because the authorship matters to you. I mean, it goes back to City's point, Doug, about should you care a great deal about this? Well, it's your work, Doug.
Exactly. Yeah. Like the work that we are going to do, Jamie, yourself, and me, and I, that's something we've agreed upon. But it's not someone who's just going to hijack or piggyback on it and hope for the best and get a freebie.
Exactly right. So when you've got the collaboration in place, so Doug is doing his thesis on his own, we've got these little bits on the side, we've had overt conversations, this is how it operates. And before I go to Liam, I can see beautiful Saji and the light of our lives, our heart belongs in your body, Saji, mate. But can I say you had a wonderful, I get quite emotional about it because it was a beautiful series of relationships you had with Jamie over Christmas, where you two were having the mathematical modelling conversation, and he was teaching you some maths and you were engaging with the maths, and you were both working on the modelling. And it was lovely to see these two remarkable, brilliant men have this beautiful engagement. And interestingly enough, so many people after that happened, and I can tell you this now, Saji, so many people after that beautiful conversation and relationship became known said, oh, well, Jamie will be an author on those papers. And Jamie was the first person to say, it's Saji's work. I was there to help him with the modelling and the maths and teach him some stuff, and I enjoyed it. I learned a lot. It was great, but it's his work.
Oh, it's hard to express my emotions, honestly, because when I got your email, I'm sorry hearing that. I've been through such situation. You saved my life. When my previous supervisor, he disappeared, and I can't understand how. I can't believe that how human can be such selfish, just disappear and want to just keep positions and not being honest with his students. And I was alone. I was in nowhere and just being anxious and depressed. And you saved me. I decided to just report in the annual. I just decided to just add in annual report, and then I was waiting, and I got the news from you, and it turned out that he breached some codes, not one codes. I mean, and yeah, and it was very hard for international students. So anyway, I just tried to just keep working on my thesis, and the best advice from Karen was just ignoring my previous supervisor and just being focused on what I'm doing. And and he threatened me. He was told me that, oh, I collected that part of the data, and if I want to just publish it, you should add my name. And I contributed to that project, but I ignored him. I want to say that, oh my gosh, you can't believe that. I started this program. I came from a very high productive master's. Even I published more than you before I start this program. I trusted in you, but what happened? Even I had time, I would just spend, I would learn more skills, work on the, just try to use even different statistical approaches. And even now I'm using and learning and learning and learning. And I'm just doing my discussion part and the last part of my dissertation. And sometimes I just use and work on the data again and again. But it's been very hard for me just seeing that you're living and you are a person that saved me during this long journey of.
Darling, I'll be supervising you till the end. Our whole marriage is based on supervising you, Saji. But what I would say, mate, is, and this might be a model for colleagues, obviously we may not get to the other topics, but this is important. When the worst happens, and the worst did happen to Saji, when the worst happens, find friends and we will cluster around you and care for you and get you through. But what Saji was able to do, instead of making the focus of the research the data, suddenly his original contribution to knowledge is the models that are deployed on the data. So therefore, there may be negotiations about authorship with the previous supervisor. Absolutely, here's the code, and let's look for criteria. And if he abides by, they abide by the criteria and have two of those three criteria, they are an author. Full stop. Emotion out. But the thesis itself is brand new because you are creating new modeling on that data. So that's what you're doing that's original. Jamie, did you want to speak to your Christmas time mate?
I do. Hey, Saji. So that's what supervisors do. What I did was I gave you the literacy, I gave you the platform for you to understand and empower you to then take the idea, feel comfortable that you understand it deeply, and then apply it to generate the new knowledge. So in terms of co-authorship of an article, the article would have the new stuff in it. I haven't generated anything new. All I did was take the existing stuff and configure it in a way that you could digest it and then assimilate it and go with it. So I'm very happy. I'm happy that my effort has now enabled and empowered you to be able to do the new stuff.
What a moment.
Yeah, sometimes just advices, and that would just make a big difference, because I use that thing because it's hard to just work on such projects because it's like interdisciplinary topics that I'm from the exercise physiology background. I just used my biomechanics, and then I ended up just using that all of this basic physics formula and the mechanics. Oh my gosh, where I am. But I needed to just come up with the results to prove my hypothesis and say that, okay, I have to go deeply into the mechanics to just prove my idea. And I enjoyed my journey, and I really appreciate.
Oh, that's all right. And from my point of view, I appreciate you. I appreciated the opportunity to think about the problem. I appreciate the opportunity to apply my background and literacy and give you the tools you needed to be able to do something useful with them, right? That's part of my primary socialization. That's why most people get into STEM, is because they like all that, right? But in terms of supervision, that's where the satisfaction as a supervisor comes from, right? Seeing the students do great things is actually where all the satisfaction comes from. So don't stop, keep going.
And we've got you, Saji.
Thank you.
We'll be with you right till the end. And can I say, whenever we think of Christmas 2023, we'll be thinking about you and modelling. Honestly, you were with us for that Christmas. So for that Christmas, we'll always be looking at the different models and ways of thinking about weightlifting. Who knew that was Fantastic. You're very precious, but darling, we'll get you through. So look, colleagues, I'm conscious of time. As always, we had 57 different cards of things we had to talk about. We've done none of them, but we've hopefully answered Sophia's question and handled it well. Now, as I said, colleagues, we'll see you down the road. We'll pop up somewhere else fantastic and spectacular, and it may be called something different, but I'll be in touch. So for many of you colleagues that are joining us for Right Club, see you soon. You are a blessing. Success always. Blessings.